What's going on? Everybody, this is Chris, Classic Dropping Car Vlog, on the way to work. I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning. If you see this in the afternoon or night or anything like that, have a good, any time of the day. God loves you, I love you, Christ loves you. Never forget that. We seek God at all times. We got to seek righteousness and salvation. That is a priority. It's not an option. Shouldn't be treated as an option, but it's all love over here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, the Taking On Podcast, this channel. Make sure you subscribe to me and my wife's professional wrestling company YouTube channel, C3 Ultimate Wrestling. We uploaded all of our matches from 10 to show of our shows. We got another show called The Amazing World, which is October 14th in Crown Point, Indiana. I can't wait to drop more details about that. Wanted to talk about two things. Excuse me. I wanted to talk about Brian Pillman Jr. split with AEW, and I wanted to talk about young prodigies in the wrestling game now. Brian Pillman Jr. leaving. I'm not sitting here saying that I was shocked. I haven't seen him for a while, so him leaving, not renewing his contract, that means that he can do what he pleases. And they were saying that he was already doing at the Performance Center, doing tryouts and things like that. So he may be WWE bound. I see them actually picking him up and things like that. When he was in AEW, from what I saw, he was talented. And I've seen him on two shows that I worked on, and he was a pretty cool guy. Very funny, very laid back and everything like that. Very chill. So very humble. So he's a very, very cool guy. The two times I met him and stuff. Some people who may have not watched him in AEW may have seen him in Dark Side of the Ring when he was talking about his father, Brian Pillman, and then it was a very emotional story. Just like, oh my gosh, it's just very emotional, and to showing his emotion about his love for his dad and things that he had with his family. It's a big thing, A lot of people don't like to talk about, death, let alone a father's death and things like that. So you dang near thought that AEW was going to try to get behind him and things like that, because you did have people's support, and it just worked for a little bit. Now I'm going to say this, and some are going to feel a certain way, but wrestling is a business, right? So sometimes people will try to benefit either off of your tragedy or your popularity or anything like that. And I do think that for 2 days, AEW, they was trying to use that and things like that and feature him more. People would get a pop, and then when he'd go from Cincinnati, the crowd and his family would be there and things like that. And I think that would have been a good start for him if you wanted to elevate him to where he is. But unfortunately, it just didn't work. He was teaming with Griff Garrison and Julia Hart. They were the Varsity Blondes. They were there for a little bit, and then their name got stolen, and it was stolen from Varsity Athletes, which was Tony Nese and the other guy, I keep forgetting his name, the guy with the mouthpiece. That's all I remember. If it was a multiple choice, maybe I get it and things like that. And then I, just haven't seen him since. So him not renewing, it's not shocking. I do hope he gets what's best for him, what works for him and things like that. I could see him in NXT doing his thing and everything like that. Like I said, a very talented guy. So shout out to him and everything that he continues to do. It's just a part of the business, y'all. It's just, sometimes things don't work out. You don't feel like renewing. Some things could be behind the scenes. Whatever he wants to disclose, that's him. Whatever AEW wants to disclose, that's on them. These are the kind of things happen. It doesn't matter what company it is. Independent companies, you got some that get released from that. I didn't even know there was many that had contracts. I don't do contracts right now at all because where I'm at. But still, it is what it is. And people got to stop and realize that some people do want to work for WWE regardless. Even when ratings was tanking and people said it was hurting the business and stuff, people was going to drop everything. If you worked at JCPenney, you're going to drop it to get a contract. And just sorry, hey man, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You're going to try. You're going to at least attempt it. They may do you wrong. They may do you right. But you're going to try to get it done. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him and everything he continues to do. Like I said, bright future. I like him. So also wanted to talk about, there's a lot of young prodigies out now. And what I'm talking about is like Billy Stark, Nick Wayne, and even like Roxy from NXT and stuff like that. So this is my thing on that. First of all, for the AEW side, shout out to them for telling them that they had to finish college or wait till they were 18 to do this decision. I know Billy Stark, she graduated, I believe she was a valedictorian, so shout out to her. And she's busy. If you go to YouTube, you will see her. She's busy. So for her to be at the top of her game in wrestling and in high school is a big deal. I'm sorry, I had a brain for it. I know the Nick Wayne, he was already wrestling on the independent. I think he had a great match with Swerve on the independents, and people were saying like he's like Darby Allin is his friend. And they were saying, Tony said, I'll give you a contract when you turn 18 and things like that. And then like Roxy's like, what, 20, 21 or something like that. Somebody had brought up a fact saying that SmackDown, the show SmackDown is older than Roxy. So, wow. That's very young, because I was very young when SmackDown happened. So, but going into it, this is my thing on young wrestlers. I do think that they are in tune to go. I do think you should wait till you're 18, one. I do think that you should go to a developmental or a wrestling school. That's the second one. Roxy was from Booker T school. Reality of wrestling and things like that. Sky Blue, she's from Chicago. I wrestle around Chicago and things like that. I know that the company that she worked for, she's very popular. Like her matches, like she was very new. And if you look at the matches where she used to wrestle for, they'd have millions of views. Like, and it wasn't like spectacular matches. It was just like a few matches, few 5-minute matches and things like that. It was like intergender and things like that. So that goes into my point. My point is, I do think that booking and signing younger wrestlers is probably the new trend that's probably going to happen in professional wrestling. I do think that if people say, oh, my 15-year-old or my 16-year-old son's first wrestling match, if that hits millions of views and that goes viral on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, tagged, MySpace, AIM, like if it goes popular, I do think more people will book these kind of things to have kids wrestling. And when I say kids, it's basically 18 and younger, things like that. 18, you're considered an adult, so we'll just say that. But I do think that just like intergender wrestling, like it had a boom, and Brian Cage and Tessa Blanchard, they kind of like, I don't want to say we're the forefront, but like when you look at a lot of matches, these get millions of views and things like that. And it was to the point it kind of changed the independent game and even the pro wrestling game, because people started giving heavyweight and world titles to the women. Tessa Blanchard beat Sami Callihan for the Impact World title, and that thing basically went down a hill straight into the toilet after that. But going into it, now you have a lot of intergender matches. Impact does some of them. WWE, they rarely do them, but some of them, I believe, makes more sense than what I see online and things like that. As you guys know, I'm not that big on intergender matches. As a person who had a whole show that had intergender matches, because I wanted to show people psychology, and I think the wrestlers did a great job with that. But going into it, it's just a big thing to do. So I do think that if more young kids become involved in wrestling, I do think that more people will watch. And I will say this. I will say that my honest opinion, that some will watch because they would want to see young kids possibly be stars. But I also know that it is a fetish for some people. I do think that those views for Sky Blue is a fetish thing. A lot of people salivate and love Sky Blue and what she looks like, and and stuff like that as well. You get what I'm saying? Uh, I do think that, wrestling is sometimes about appeal and things like that. And some of these women wrestlers will tell you the extents of guys and gals trying to get their attention and trying to get them to be their friend and try to contact them and things like that. So you young kids out there, you young people, you please be careful with these kind of things. And all money ain't good money. The words of Diamond: make the money, don't let the money make you. And I feel bad because I'm using what the stripper said in her thing, but I'm just being completely honest with what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing wrong with even having young prodigies. I just think that if you shoehorn a lot of them, it'll just be lost in the fold. Now, who's to say? Like, they're not like champion. I think, yeah, Roxy was like the NXT champion, but we'll see. You can mold these young people into great wrestlers and things like that. Randy Orton was 24 when he won the heavyweight title, and Brock was 25. So some of these people are only a few years, like 20, 21, and things like that. So the sky's the limit. Just be professional about it and things like that. But I do think that, like, if more people get views, because even the Nick Wayne, he got like a lot of views on AEW. And AEW, they did like a package of saying like where he came from and who his dad was, I believe, stuff like that. They were saying he's a third generation. Like, they hyped it all up. So that's just the way the business works. You got a lot of companies at one point didn't do intergender wrestling because they thought it wasn't cool. But then as soon as let's say Title Match Wrestling Network, they got a lot of millions of views off of intergenders. People was doing intergender. They was booking more women. They was putting tag titles, main titles, world titles. You see it on like I said, you see it on Impact. Like, you changed the game. So now I can definitely see people saying, oh, this person was 15 to 16 years old going against Kenny Omega or something. And, Kenny went against a 9-year-old girl before. So, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things where it could be a wave. Wrestling has trends too. Some things stick and some things do not. Me personally, I don't think you're that ready at 16, 17 or whatever to be a wrestler, to be on the road and things like that. I really do think you should finish high school. I truly believe that you should finish high school at least. Before doing that, you're gonna have to smarten up early. You're gonna have to learn the business. You're gonna have to learn that some of these people just booking you for other things. Like, we already had like the Me Too movement and the speaking out movement and wrestling and things like that. And it's just like, and I'm all for protecting young people and the kids and things like that. You just gotta be careful with these kind of things, because you got people my age that go for the okey doke and the rope a dope for certain things, and they try to get it how they want to get it, and it's not right. But going into it, yeah, I do think that it's just about to be a big trend of young people just wrestling on national things and on the independence and things like that. And you just got to be wary with these kind of things, because all of these death matches and hardcore matches, hitting a kid that's like 16 years old, that's not that could really mess up a wrestling company. It could mess up the landscape. But then again, you could become one of the best wrestlers at a young age. I would say 20 or 20 something like that. I remember I saw like Jordan Grace. She said she started wrestling at a young age and she don't recommend that. And shout out to her for saying that, because a lot of people, they'll be like, just follow your dreams, follow your dreams. And she is, but at the same time, there's contingencies to it. You can't just jump into that. So, I do know, like in the Mexican heritage for luchas and stuff like that, they train their kids young. They have matches and stuff. I remember I went to Galley in Villa Park, Illinois, and somebody's kid was wrestling and things like that. So sometimes it is a cultural thing, but most of the time for American wrestling, it is a business thing. Like, if Nick Wayne gets 7 million views, right? Let's just say today, if he gets 7 million views, he's going to be heavily featured on AEW, either Dynamite, Collision, or Rampage. And then you're going to see a lot of companies follow suit by looking at kids who want to be wrestlers, who are training, or they're probably training now, and be like, okay, well, we're going to push you and stuff like that. They're going to use that business aspect to try to make money for themselves, or try to get views and things like that. If you book somebody, like I'm saying Kenny because Kenny would go against a little kid and stuff like that. I can see intergender young kids and stuff. Like, there's a video of 2 little boys wrestling, and I only seen bits and pieces of it. My thing is on this, I'm not really for prodigies and stuff like that, even though I probably would, hypocrite, have my son at probably 17 or something like that wrestle me or something like that. But I'm not for that, because I do think that I don't want that illusion to have wrestling is so easy a kid can do it. I don't even care for a horde of celebrities who do it. Athletes is one thing, but when it's celebrities like Action Bronson and AEW and stuff like that, or people from reality TV shows, like, to me, they gotta have some kind of line on that. I wouldn't really just try to book a kid or something like that. I just wouldn't want to. I would love to face my sons eventually or whatever, but I probably wouldn't have him wrestle at like 16 or 17 and things like that. I just don't want that thing like, oh well, the kids can wrestle now and things like that. People already talk about how fake it is and stuff like that. So now you got kids whose body ain't even developed all the way, wrestling, doing all kind of stuff, beating grown people. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of Brian Pillman's departure? What do you guys think of these young prodigies and things like that? And who are you looking out for? Who is the future? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.